I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Darryl. House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
It's yours?
No,
Your mother said she found it in your closet.
I don't know. One of the guys must
have what?
Look, Dad, it's
Where
not.
did you get it?
Dad,
answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
Next we'll be hearing from Kendu Riley. You have to unmute.
I'm a genius. Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Today I'm speaking, well, my name is Kendu Riley. I'm speaking on behalf of my father, Darryl Riley, and my mother, Sandra Rucker. They were both sentenced to life without parole when I was 2 years old. And clemency for me is kind of like, it's an opportunity to like have a family again. And I stress that because of the simple fact that at 18, everybody, since both of my parents were taken away from me as a child, everybody that I was left with to take care of me, to be responsible with me, passed when I was 18. So at 18 years old, I was living completely by myself. I didn't have anybody else to sit and take care of me, be dependent upon. So it's like that constructive feeling of having family or having someone there kind of like evaporated. And then I found myself with the council feeling like I had family and being connected again. And just to imagine that both of my parents are capable of coming home and being with me and being able to sit and love me and just treat me as that daughter, or just even the ability to have my first Christmas with them, or my first Thanksgiving, or just any of the holidays, or just, and it's just a chance to feel normal. And it's like clemency holds and yields so much power that it's truly unbelievable just to sit and think that at the age of 2, just to grow up without your mom or your dad in your life, just relying on other people and knowing that at the end of the day, if you want to hear your mom's voice, you can only hear it for 15 minutes and then the phone cuts off. Or if you want to feel their touch or be embraced by them, you can only sit and feel it through a visitation room for maybe 5 or 6 hours. So clemency is that chance to be held, or to sit in a car and listen to music with riding to the store with your parents, or it's just that feeling to be a person, the ability to feel love with your mom and your dad. And clemency would definitely do that for me.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to NYC with it. Brooklyn. East New York to be exact. Y'all don't meet me there, beat me there. Now, we gonna take some trips down to VA, the Richmond area, and that's where it's gonna get a little ugly for us. Today we are covering none other than the Brooklyn legend himself, Darryl Kendu Riley. But in the course of telling Kendu's story, we're gonna have to document the story of Sandra Rucker, who was not only his co-defendant on his case, but also the mother to his child. Now, Mobb Ties is normally a cautionary tale or educational tool to the fellas, to my guys, but this particular episode is definitely going to go both sides because it's going to be a cautionary tale to the young females and definitely the young dudes jumping off the porch or anybody that might find themselves in the middle of the game right now. There's a famous saying in Brooklyn. It's not where you from, it's where you at. And that reigns true in so many aspects. A lot of times people will use it in a sense of you pretty much ain't going to be able to shake shit on somebody else's block like you're going to be able to shake shit on your block. Or another one that I like to call the classic, the overly tough guy, the, oh, I'm from Brooklyn, nah, I ain't going for that and all of this. A lot of times them be the ones that die out of town because they forget that you from Brooklyn, man. You got to use your mind. It ain't all about using your muscle, and your muscle don't got to be used all the time. Sometimes this shit like a chessboard, and niggas die out here playing checkers. With that being said, the statement, it ain't where you from, it's where you at, reigns true on so many accords. And I want to say that it reigns true in this particular case here because the shit or the dirt that you do in New York is not going to be taken as lightly in Montana or in North Dakota or in this instance in Virginia. Now, I want to go out on a limb and say Virginia is probably one of, if not the worst places that you can probably go and set up any kind of drug organization. And definitely at that time, and I'm going to break it down like this too, and this is just from my personal experience. Now, Virginia is wide open, and that shit coming from New York, it almost seems like a video game, almost seems like fake. Definitely certain parts that you can go to, and honestly, I'm going to say no matter what part of the city you in, no matter how bad it is, no matter how nice the area is, it's just going to seem a little, I want to say, Grand Theft Auto-ish, where anything can happen. Like, for instance, you can be involved in a police-involved stop or an incident, and everything could be done identically in the state of New York and in the state of Virginia. And depending on how that traffic stop was initiated, that search was initiated. Now, if the cops didn't have probable cause and if they didn't cross their T's and dot their I's, you definitely have a better chance of beating whatever case it is in Virginia rather than New York. Or I'm going to take my chances in Virginia rather than in New York. And definitely with a good paid lawyer, which I think emboldens certain people with certain type of crimes. And for credibility to that, you don't have to look too far. If you look at the Virginia rap duo, the Clips, in one of their breakout hits in Virginia, the first thing you hear on the record is Pharrell himself saying, "You ready to do this, nigga? You ready to come down here? It's Virginia, nigga. We do it in broad daylight. It's a whole different degree of homicide, nigga." Now, if you didn't believe Pharrell himself, all you would have to do is continue to listen to the song where Malice would come on and say, "In Virginia, we smirked at the Simpson trial. Yeah, I guess the chase was wild, but what the fuss about? See? Plenty of my partners feeling like OJ beat murder like the shit is okay. That's what Aldo say." So, yeah, you get you a good lawyer and you're going to have a chance. But the kicker to that is when they do have probable cause and their T's are crossed and their I's are dotted, the numbers that you are going to see for these crimes in Virginia in reference to New York are going to be substantial. I remember when I was young, they used to say, "Damn, bro got football numbers." I want to say that Virginia is where they make them jerseys at, bro. And Kendu, along with Santra Rucker, will find themselves victims to those laws because Kendu would end up being sentenced to 5 life sentences after he decided to take the case to trial. And Santra Rucker was sentenced to an astounding 13 life sentences. She would end up having her sentence commuted to somewhere around 23 years, and she's free and released now. But she was arrested when her daughter was 2 years old. By the time she got out, her daughter graduated from the University of Virginia. I was in communication with her not too long before her mother was released, and she would talk about some of the struggles of trying to make it by herself because most of her family that she had on the outside had passed, and her mom and her dad was incarcerated. Now, at their trial, the prosecution was centered around a drug partnership, they would say, of New York drug dealer Darryl Kendu Riley and his girlfriend, Sandra Rucker, whose association with Rucker was principally in Virginia. Now, they're going to say the evidence was replete with the detailed transactions showing that Riley purchased multiple kilos of cocaine from various suppliers in New York City, and that he would then go on to sell the cocaine again in major quantities to drug dealers in Virginia. They're going to say that Rucker dealt extensively in the drugs in Virginia and developed an extensive clientele among crack dealers in rural Westmoreland and North Cumberland counties in Virginia's Northern Neck area. And they're going to say she utilized a number of instances in brokering services of a female by the name of Rhonda Washington. Now, amongst key pieces of the prosecution's evidence was a videotape where it showed Sandra Rucker and Kendu attending a well-known drug dealer's funeral in New York City. Now, defense attorneys for Sandra Rucker and for Kendu tried to do everything they could to not have that tape admitted. However, the court determined that it was in the trial court's discretion to admit the tape because it showed both Sandra Rucker and Kendu in close association with New York drug dealers in a social setting. And they're going to say that evidence was particularly relevant in light of the fact that Sandra Rucker testified that she did not associate with New York drug dealers. Now, with Sandra Rucker being freed a little while back, Kendu is still serving time in Allenwood, and he would go on to write verbatim, "I was convicted of distributing a large amount of crack cocaine. I was offered 60 months to cooperate, but I turned it down. My family is still mad about that. They say I chose the streets over them, but I couldn't bring someone else down with me, so they gave me 5 life sentences. I have been here 20 years. I have seen a lot of these younger kids come back 2 or 3 times already. I try to guide them, but it's no use. They only seem interested in finding a better way to do bad. The library is always empty. None of these guys take advantage of the programs. I encourage them to get their GED while they're here, but they laugh at me. They don't respect their elders. Crack changed everything. So many of these young men saw their mothers and fathers doing drugs in the street. So many of their parents went to prison. These kids were forced to raise themselves, so they aren't about to listen to anyone. I did the same thing to my kids. My son got murdered. My daughter had to raise herself because her mom is doing 13 life sentences, but she's the exception. She's got every excuse to be bitter, but she doesn't even talk about it. She got a 4.0 at the University of Virginia, and that was at current time speaking. And he said all of this from the Federal Correctional Complex in Allenwood, Pennsylvania. So that's pretty much everything coming full circle in your eyes, because you almost see the poison that you put out on the streets, and you're in jail to see what is bringing back in. But also, you have a daughter that's out, and she's pretty much a scholar at one of the top universities. So it's a wild story. I'm sorry I took so long to bring it to y'all, but y'all already know what it is. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. It's your boy Popalot, POP_A_LOT. Y'all hit the bell right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. And y'all let me know who we need to cover, what gangsters we missed, what cities we haven't been to, where we need to go next. And get at me however y'all see fit. Call me, text me, CC me, email me, tweet me, mention me, tag me. Whatever it is, I'm with all the shit. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb, Mobb, Mobb.